efficient energy, we need to ensure that certain policy measures are there, which are like providing some, benefits to import of certain equipments. Probably we may also look at certain states still charge a cross subsidy or a electricity duty on captive power, which I think, which we feel is a strong deterrent to captive power generation, because you cannot penalize a person who is adding to your overall capacity at India level. Interest rate subsidies are currently being provided to captive generation on biofuel, but still there is no case for natural gas. So while everybody believes that natural gas is the fuel for decentralized power, there is no such policy which actually reinforces this thought. We require aggregator agencies which have to be propagated through state or central government, where these aggregator agencies bring in these decentralized power plants, claim CDM benefits in the global market, and bring that benefit to the individual customers so that they are encouraged to go ahead with such things. I think I have overshot my time, so I'll just stop here with this thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vikas. Very good. Now I request Mr. Raghumanian.
Hello. Is it audible? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot for giving a chance to be on the panel here. We have been talking of the subject of 50,000 megawatt target for gas and biofuel, decentralized energy and distributed power in the 12th plan for India. For last 10 years, I have been attending various sessions, various seminars, various forums where this particular topic has been discussed, deliberated, and the bottom line that always comes out is, what is it the government doing as a pricing policy? What is it the government doing with respect to availability of gas? And then we see a map, which shows a lot of routes of gas coming in and a lot of projections of gases coming through. You show a lot of promises by Reliance, a lot of promises by Shell, a lot of promises by Adani. Many such promises are being shown. And year after year, you keep seeing the figures. Only your megawatt percentage goes up, but the availability of gas always remains a question mark. Now, when we talk of a nomadic era, when man was just formed and when fire was not available, what did he do? Did he complain to God that you have not given me fire, so I won't create fire? No. What did he do? He invented fire. Same way, the industrial consumers and the technology providers like us, what are we really looking at? Opportunities to see that if we are not getting gas, if we are not getting this particular fuel to generate power, how can we try to conserve and spend less of it? I see very less attempt, especially from the industrial sector, on this particular case. I can give selective examples. Since I come very strongly from a waste recovery application, a waste recovery background and a CHP background, I have seen at n number of places, at n number of instances, where the industrial consumer is basically responsible for literally flaring up and wasting energy. One of the biggest example I can give is recently at a particular case in a customer's place where he was putting up a 15 megawatt power plant. He was exhausting the gases, the waste heat gases, almost at 220 degrees centigrade into the atmosphere, and he's got the best consultant, he's got the best utility manager, and he's got the best prime mover supplier. And surprisingly, the whole efficiency still shows 80-85%. I mean, in which way it was being projected, I couldn't make out. It took us almost 4 to 5 months to convince the customer that this particular percentage is wrong, and he's got a gas-fired equipment running in his plant which is firing 800 meter cube of gas, which we can save by putting up a right solution. And now, after 4 months, the particular concept got established. Today the prime mover equipment is commissioned, and just because the project got delayed by 4 months, that particular engine is running on open cycle. Who's responsible for wasting this 800 meter cube of gas? I mean, we as technology providers, we as people who are really talking of high efficiencies are really responsible for this. And even the industrial consumers, my clients, who are really putting up these kind of plants, are not giving a due diligent thought at the concept stage, is creating this kind of an issue. First point. Second is, I remember almost some 6 years back, we had a great discussion at Ahmedabad, where a promoter, who was basically an NRI returned. He had seen things around in America and Europe. He wanted to put a group captive plant. Again, as a conventional way, he went to the best consultant. He hired a best lot of people from the power industry. They all put together, came together. They organized some 50 clients, all sat together, discussed about group captive. Now, when that group captive was only becoming viable if you generate power and if you are able to sell steam to various 50 or 60 units around. Now, the great consultant says, how can a steam pipe run in an industrial area for 2 to 3 kilometers? It's not possible. It's not practical. It will not happen. This kind of scheme will not work. This is absurd. This is vague. I simply asked him a question. You go to a refinery, say Reliance Refinery, or you go to IOC or any of the refineries. There the whole campus is almost close to 10 to 15 kilometers. The steam pipelines run from one corner to the other corner. Why it runs in a steam refinery and why it can't run in a industrial belt zone? We couldn't win over that conversation. The person who was going to develop, the person who was going to put money had a cold feet. He dragged behind. Because the consultant very strongly put his foot forward saying, this is an unviable project. Why this kind of concept can run in the western part of the world and not in our part of the world? And what are we trying to aim at? By saving gas. Can you imagine the quantity of gas that we can save by having this kind of a concept being put in? The third thing which I would like to put up is regarding organic Rankine cycles. The organic Rankine cycle concept, I would not like to get into the details, but organic Rankine cycle are the concepts where exactly you can employ, where you have no utilization of waste heat, but you can utilize that particular power plant to improve your total system efficiency. By improving your total efficiency by another 20 to 25%. But we as people, we as industrial consumers are really not trying to look at that. I can give you one more example for this. I saw a particular customer who was very interested. We targeted some 5-6 customers for an ORC application. He was very interested. We had some 4 to 5 months discussions, lot of paperwork being exchanged, efficiencies being established. And finally, he had to visit this particular this technology provided in the States. And he slowly comes and asks me, in our 4 days visit, I would like to spend only 1 day with the technology provider. And how far is Las Vegas from this place? Or how far is Manhattan from this place? I mean, he was more keen on having a vacation rather than seeing a technology which he's going to put in. So in this kind of a scenario, where ignorance plays, where vested interest plays, how do you really push and promote these kind of solutions? Is which has always been, hampering in my mind around. Now we talk about systems like 50,000 megawatt. I can tell you, Professor Iyer, it's not going to be a reality unless and until you really look at conservation. You can talk of policies. You can say 4.8 million BTU is an unrealistic price. It has to be 2.5 million, dollars a BTU. It is all fine. But how will you really make it happen unless and until you don't get the source for it? And if you're not getting the source for it, how are you going to conserve that particular source? That's the question I would like to leave with everybody. Thank you.
We did the same for solar.
It's same for solar, yeah.
When we went for 40 gigawatts.
It's same for solar
It
also.
is different. It was old people
Yeah.
telling us that it is viable. Dr. Parikh talking about it. And I give you an example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why I want to cut it right away is because that is a very wrong position to take. You already have 15 gigawatt right now coming. What are those plants? They are the combined heat and power plants. They are the sugar mill plants. I can tell you my friend from Shintano, he's selling like hotcakes to these Renuka sugars and all. They're building plants. There is something wrong in our strategy. Either you are meeting the businessman who is interested to make money tomorrow, and you are not
Yes,
going to the Reliances
that's
and
true.
convincing them that while the Reliances and the Tatas are building this kitty of the ultra mega thing, they can also build the equivalent kitty. I can assure you that that is the wrong part of our market. Because I have been on your board a few years back. Now I'm sitting on the media bench. I'm usually critical of the sellers of machinery who end up only doing sales. They bloody well
Okay.
don't have any innovation.
Well,
We convinced यार, when Praveen was there, we convinced Mohammed Ali said यार तू पागल हो गया, गेड़ा हो गया, 105 crore डालेंगे.
that's
We had
true.
to show him he was saving 35 crores barely by 1 rupee tariff difference, and we had Wärtsilä behind our feet. They would have blown us out at the time. When he went for Gujarat Ambuja, Wärtsilä had 60 megawatt. We did innovative selling. We sold at a higher price than them, isn't it?
Yeah.
So where is the selling? What are we selling? Lower price, sasta. I think there is something wrong. And I'm telling you, 50 gigawatt is just nothing, no target. 20 gigawatt is already come, I'm telling you. You come to my office, I will show you.
So I'm not challenging the fact. No, no, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
challenge the fact.
No,
Am I right, sir?
Yeah, absolutely it is there already.
What are we discussing?
no
Question
doubts
is
on
not-
that.
No, no, question is not that. I'm not challenging the fact that 50 gigawatt will not happen.
I'm telling you this topic nobody threw. I was myself shocked because when I'm going to 40 gigawatt, the World Energy Council, Mr. J.K. Mehta told me, "Agar sir, ये topic lao mata for solar." He said, "You don't bring this topic." Still, I went with the topic. Of course, I got no very little response. Only BHL came for it. That showed the chicken face of the Indian industry. I
Absolutely,
think
that's
that
true.
discussion was stronger than this discussion. I'm telling you. You know, of course, this discussion is strong because we had to cancel one panel. There it did not happen. But for solar discussion, I never imagined that 3 sessions would engage us in such a way that we
Absolutely, that's true.
till 8:30. So let us think there is no target, believe me.
No, no, I'm not challenging the questions. I mean,
No,
see,
I'm not challenging you. I'm challenging the fundamental idea. कौन business कर रहे हैं Mickey Mouse वाले? Decentralized energy is a very large game.
It's a very, in fact,
Very large game, my friend. Whatsoever will agree with me.
I'm not denying, boss. See,
Am I right?
the point that what I'm trying to put forward is, see, in every session that we have had, I'm talking of conserving this particular fuel. See, every point, if you look at every presentations which has happened now or even before, you have been attending so many seminars for last almost a decade, the time since gas has been spoken out in a big way. Everywhere the question is, where is gas? What is the price?
But I'm telling you,
I'm exactly addressing that point.
No, no, no,
But
no,
you have to-
no, no. May I? Whereas,
unfortunately, the other speakers.
whereas, there is absolutely no dispute about the scope for conservation, etc. But when you talk macro level, then those things are subsidiary. What is more important is how policy issues you address, and that any day relates to the price of gas. Whatever you say, I am ready to stick my neck out
Absolutely.
for
I'm
that.
giving you one small indicator to you that we are now as a pushing on the agenda because now our friends are there, they can also look at it what we are talking. We are saying when you give the renewable energy certificate benefit to all other forms of renewable energy,
why not?
the hell on earth you can't do it to gas when gas can bring down to less than 1/3 the carbon emissions compared to a coal-based plant. It is a comparative advantage that gas has. So you say it's not 100% renewable, 70%. Why don't you give this benefit and reduce the pricing? Why you are fighting for the pricing of gas itself? Why are you not innovative in your thinking? Parikh has agreed. Dr. Parikh, who brought this price rise of fuel, has agreed to my point of view. Because I had to spend 15 minutes to convince him, but he's an intelligent guy.
Yeah, solar also he had an open mind.
He has an open
Solar
mind.
also he had an
Yes.
open mind.
He is absolutely open mind. Mr. Parikh and Rajdan, both of them got a lot of open mind.
You will not believe, I spent so much time going to Rajdan Sahab and Parikh Sahab that they agreed to my topic and they said,
Absolutely.
today we don't have that. I tell you, my friend was speaking, I want to tell immediately that one. Rajdan and others want the Himachal Pradeshis and the Arunachal to get gas.
To get gas, yes.
You must realize what is behind that thinking.
Okay, I see. If you summarize,
Because hydro will not feed their entire grid, sir.
absolutely,
We all know
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, we know. Everybody knows that.
Therefore,
No, no, Dr.
let's
Parikh
not be on-
went to the extent of agreeing that solar should be accorded the same priority as space and nuclear.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's what they said. So let's not push down gas and say, like he said, abundant coal. I spent 9 days at Singrauli. It's finishing at 2030.
You see,
I went to the new Krishnasena mines.
yes, coal is dwindling. Coal is not going to be available.
Coal and our Indian coal, the calorific value is 3,150.
Yes, absolutely.
Australian coal. So when we make such statements sweeping, I tell you, we think about it here. We are challenging the planning commission and others. Bloody no planning. 20 साल के अंदर सब बेकार बातें करी गई हैं.
In fact, you are buying coal from outside for all UMPs. What are we talking?
Let us not fool ourselves.
Okay, if we summarize from what Mr. Raghubanan said, I will summarize it in once this one because of your technical selling, whatever you are saying. Mindset change.
But I did not agree to that point.
Yeah, is there?
See, again, I think the right point has not been caught. I still feel so. Because, we have gone more onto the subject part of it. And I was just addressing one edge of that subject, saying that, okay, fine, we talk about issues, about pricing.
That's what I am saying. It is a mindset.
Yeah,
You are talking about the mindset of the people which is not change, which has to change.
yeah.
The consultants, I'll say it's a mindset because the consultants are coming from the back.
Particularly
That's agreeable.
That will,
Yes.
that might contribute 2%, 3%, 5% to this.
You see, I
Isn't
think,
that sufficient?
no, Mr. Raghumanan, I think over a time period, the role of consultants is slowly coming down.
I want to warn you, Raghu, on one issue.
It's
that
more,
conservation keep
customers are more,
Because I personally have said the Bureau of Energy
Yeah,
is 4-star, is the biggest fraud on the country. We will export, we are already making an article. There is no 4-star. I tell you that Videocon fellow was roaming with 4-star. कौन से पे चिपकाना है? I don't want to name.
okay. I think let's stop here. Let's move two more. Professor, let us stop. We have two more speakers to continue. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Raghumanan. Now, Mr. Partha, I request you to make your discussion.
Well, sir, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. Of course, I'll start from where he has concluded. In fact, somebody said that managing energy is the key issue out here. How well we manage to conserve, first of all, and then increase the efficiency out here. So we talk about demand side management, but nobody talks about supply side management. Why it is so? I mean, somebody has to question. Somebody has to question the policymakers out there.
Yes.
Now, few questions I'll just try to leave. Put across to the entire delegates out here so that they can ponder on and try to find the answers to. Gas, as a fuel, why it can't be taken, like any other fuels, Why it has to be take or pay. I understand if the gas is being supplied from some foreign source, then of course there is an obligation, back-to-back obligations happening. But if it is an inside source happening within India and it's coming in the Indian source, so it can't. Why there has to be a take or pay obligations? Other question is, of course, lot needs to be done actually to propagate the idea of decentralized energy. We as a in the front role in the market propagating that idea, but we also feel that lots need to be done because most of the people, most of the consultants, the knowledge bodies, they don't have idea what it could bring, ultimately to the energy conservation, to the increasing of the efficiency of the whole nation as a whole. How much incremental increase it could bring into if you are going into centralized generation mode to the decentralized generation mode. Consultants, if you talk about consultants, the bigger consultants, you talk about gas as a source of energy. It only one thing comes out in the mind is a centralized, bigger generation, which is 1,000 megawatt, 1,500 megawatt kind of installation. Why it can't be the 1,000 megawatt? Why it could not be distributed in say 10 or 20 generations at different locations, wherein we also have inclusive growth of the society as a whole. It is not only the power projects that are growing, but across the society, the people across where they are living in that geographical area also have a chance to grow. It is not going to happen if you have 1,000 megawatt of 1,100 megawatt, 200 megawatt centralized generation. Talk to any state utility; they have a lot of MOUs in place. Signed a lot of MOUs with the gas suppliers, GAIL, for example. I'll take example of Punjab as a state. They had signed an MOU which is a 5 years old MOU, and every year is getting renewed. And they have a plan of setting up 1,000 megawatt gas-based power projects. So when we talked to them, they said, well, we had experience of engines, and it can't really operate, it can't really as efficient as a bigger combined cycle power plants. I said, those days are gone, sir, excuse me, but I can give you a better efficiency, better than those combined cycle plant at the location where you need power. So those lot of things to be discussed, deliberated and propagated before we actually set us a target of 50 gigawatt. That's the reality.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Partha. I request Mr. Praveen Pai.
Thank you. The disadvantage of talking at the end is that very few points are left to be covered.
That's all.
But anyways, I'll try to add one point here, which I a bit surprised has not been touched till date, but during the discussion, is basically the infrastructure. We are talking about gas required, we are talking about 50,000 megawatts. Nobody is talking about infrastructure. Why do we think Reliance has capped the production at 60 MMSCMD? Is it that they cannot produce more? Yeah, that could be one of the reasons, yes. But also the bigger reason is, where are the customers? The east-west pipeline is not connected to any of the cities right from east to west. Why is it so? We knew that the gas was going to be available at certain amount of time. Why did not the city gas distribution development projects start? Why did PNGRB delay those bidding of cities in Hyderabad, Bangalore, when it could have been done 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Why are they starting it now? These are the things where planning is required. And we knew, very obvious planning actually. Most of the gas companies knew that those could be prospective cities to develop CGDs. And once CGDs are developed, we have got industries, we have got all the shopping complexes, malls, all, you name it, all the engine manufacturers, turbines, business for everyone, power for everyone. But the East-West pipeline just delivers gas. It is acting as a transportation pipeline. It is not been allowed to tap, and the gas utilization policy is restricting sale of gas to such CGDs anyways. So that's not any motivating factor either. Another important thing is that which I have noted is from taxation point, a VAT input for gas burnt in process is allowed, whereas gas burnt in power generation is not allowed for customers. So I am surprised at the policy, why this kind of dual standards are being applied. When fuel is burnt and the customer is not motivated enough, he would say that I would burn it in the process and go for grid or go for some other source of power because I'm not getting VAT benefit by burning gas into the power generation. So these are the two things which I would like to add in the current discussion. And on your point on take or pay, see I would just like to probably share some of the experiences from my current organization. Is gas storage is not possible, and basically if cumulative defaults start happening, it will have a very dangerous impact on the gas distribution, transmission and producing company. So that's why take or pay is required, I would say.
For the nation as a whole, if you talk about say 50,000 gigawatt, 50 gigawatt of gas-based power plants, for example, then I think even multiple projects going offline, it doesn't really affect the gas supply, does it?
Yeah, I agree. But this happens when we have got enough infrastructure to park your gas, which happens in US. So you can easily divert your gas, or you can have a line pack lying somewhere, not being used for the time being. So I think India is a long way to go on that part.
Since I am a gas man for over 30 years, may I have my take on that take or pay. Single one-liner is because it is a monopolistic situation that people insist on take or pay. Having said that, though I am not a spokesperson for GSPC gas company or anything, but since I am associated in one way or the other, I know for sure that even if take or pay is signed, they are very liberal about it. They give you a month to adjust your overall supply, and then based on the average, and that too many a times for smaller customers, that is less than 100,000, they do not insist on this take or pay in operation. It is only just a legal provision, because it depends on the relationship with the customer and the actual situation wise. If you do not suffer as a gas supplier, you do not unnecessarily penalize your client.
If I may add up one point to that, actually, distributed generation, whenever we have been discussing with the policymakers or say decision-making bodies, it is being seen as a peak load station or a smaller distributed plant operating some corner, and if it is a peak load station, then typically the supply flow of the gas, it is not uniform in throughout the day or hourly basis. So the obligation is also binding out there that you'll have to offtake gas on a uniform average rate of consumption. So that's created limitations to gas consumption.
In fact, I had a client when the take or pay was being discussed. He says, okay, I would insist on give or pay. So, Professor, in your episode, my reply to this take or pay was that one-liner is that it is a monopolistic situation and therefore people insist. But in practical situations, as I said in GSPC gas company case, though I am not a spokesperson, that it is being liberally interpreted that if actually the company has not suffered, they don't unnecessarily penalize the client, especially the small clients, which is less than 100,000 cubic meters per day.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Praveen Pai. Yes.
Probably more of a technological point out here is that we have been discussing about the biofuel and Jetropas. There are excellent solutions available as far as the engines are concerned to operate on direct Jetropa, without any kind of a
That's-
esterifications process in a Jetropa oil, yes. And also, if you talk about the transition state, probably India is going through that right now. The gas is coming or not coming. In that situation, there are solutions which is a dual fuel solution or a tri-fuel solution, which is also a very proven solutions as far as engines solutions are concerned. So, in either case, actually, engine options could give you a very high efficient solutions sustaining your requirement.
I tell you, the Turbo fundamentally, because Dr. Patil is sitting here, so he will tell, is fundamentally a solvent. Right? It is a type of solvent. So what happens when it goes into the wall of your engine? So if you are an IC engine
Yes.
guy, you will know that it automatically acts as a
Lubricants,
Lubricants.
This is the process of combustion.
Absolutely.
So the combustion, the particulates of combustion are very low.
True.
And you know that B2005 which he's talking about is a very close friend who's driving his own car. So can you imagine that till date, I don't want to name now, the Cummins or other people now, I can name Cummins at least. Those guys have never tested and have never allowed this, experiment to get success. Am I right, sir? So ये तो यार इंजन वाले भी यही कर रहे हैं. But when you see what happened, running an automotive is a situation where the wells to wheel efficiency, in the language of my friend, from Canadian University, Dr. Robert Evans, he has written the wells to wheel efficiency in the case of a mechanical component
Yes.
is only 17 kilojoule, you expend 100 kilojoule energy. In the case of power generation, it will be even lower, right? It will be 14 kilojoules. Yeah, 4 points less, right, sir? So now imagine that kind of a situation with lower efficiency in a direct conversion situation, and with an advantage like this. We are not talking of a fuel which can actually bring greater efficiency to you directly
Absolutely.
in a power generation situation.
And typically, yeah.
And we are what we are talking, we are talking about additives. Because ethanol is so good. This American thought must be taken away and let us have an Asian thought. Jetropa is ours, an African baby.
Absolutely.
It is not a baby of America.
America.
US does not grow. वो तो कौन से ethanol निकालेगा? Wherever the corn is growing, ethanol निकालेगा. You are not going to do that. आपके यहाँ तो वो, I had this famous, that minister famously said to me once, विलास मुत्तरवाल, सर एक plant है नागपुर में and मोदिया and सब में, उसको बोलते हैं बेशर्म. पता है कि वो कहीं भी उग जाता है. And उसकी property बिल्कुल चतुर्भुज जैसी. There are scientists working on this. So there are many alternatives. So the rejection of that idea is very dangerous. Just like that, what they brought, doctor.
Yes,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent.
You cannot reject it like that. You have to find what is the mistake.
What is the mistake?
So today with genetic engineering
Absolutely.
and advanced nanotechnology, and we are able to actually in molecular science, the physics and chemistry and
Yes.
biology and medicine are combined.
Combined.
When you can send something inside and it can work on a Star Wars principle inside your body. In medicine,
Yeah.
you can do that.
Yeah, our green revolution itself began with
Yeah, absolutely.
minority.
That's true.
Food security, I mean, somebody was trying to say that food security probably is the reason why they have stopped this Jetropa. But
No, no,
that's
no.
not a reason. It's
That's
a
not a
camouflaging. They're camouflaging the actual fact,
Bogie being used.
But the true fact is that probably if you try to replace Jetropa as a diesel for in the transport sector, then the question comes in whether the Jetropa should be used for replacing diesel in that sector at all or not, whether it has got some other means of usage, wherein it could be better utilized for the purpose of power generation.
If you look at the greatest impact on the environment aspect of it,
Yes, of course.
then certainly you have got a better facility in terms of carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide emissions.
True.
That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now we can have a small question answer session.
Before that, I request the audience, we have a municipal corporation, Mr. Mukesh Shalani actually, but there is a very interesting idea
Yes.
on distributed, licensing, because see, one of the things that is not happening,
Is the licensing on this? That's what we are talking.
Mukesh should speak on this. What is it?
But that's
In, I think 2 years back when I attended decentralized forum in Jadavgarh, Pune, we have taken one decision. in our municipal corporation, there is a BPMC Act 1949. Under that act, all corporations are formed and working in Maharashtra. The same is applicable to Gujarat, I think, BPMC Act. Change it, but contents are the more or less the same.
Same model, same model.
Contents are the. There is one provision in that act under section 66 which defines matters which may be provided by corporation at its discretion, provide from time to time for any of the following matters. In that, subsection 19 says the purchase of any undertaking for the supply of electrical energy or gas or starting of any such undertaking in general public interest. And we have started with that by invoking this provision in the Act, and we have passed one resolution. Because of the shortage of the land, we have approached nearby council. They have also passed their resolution. We may be going for first decentralized power plant in some future, depending upon, it may be a gas, it may be a solid waste from waste to energy, or it may be a solar, whatever is feasible. Thank you.
This is a very good one.
Surat has already implemented. Surat Municipal Corporation.
We gave them the award, energy award.
Yes. So we can go now for question answer session. Any questions for the panelists?
My question is again coming back to our friend over there. My question is, wo socho, jo Rajan sahab bol rahe hain, why not give the Shimla, the Himachal Pradesh, all that gas? Why
Gas, gas.
give the gas only to the people who have it? See,
Not in the urban area alone.
transporting that.
Not in the urban area.
Coal
That's what he
throughout the
says.
country. When we are wasting coal on this transportation, we are also transporting electricity further from coal. And I am telling you, we are only calculating the loss of electricity. We are not calculating the loss of coal. 60% is solar.
Yes.
और उसके बाद भी उसकी fuel efficiency की बात हो रही है. Camouflage, I tell you, total ruckus. And then we are not taking a fuel which is easily flowable and which cannot be stolen easily. You need real intelligence and I tell you, playing with fire kind of situation. And we are not sending this gas to Tripura's. Tripura has got gas, but we are not sending it to remote parts. We are not sending it to Mizoram. We are not sending it to, Shillong.
Absolutely.
We are thinking in a very negative way on gas strategy. So what is your take on that? While you are representing the planning commission, this is the devil's advocate we are playing. With some old people and from New Mind.
From New Mind, yes.
Sahab is a retired.
Power Secretary.
I am not retired. I have got fire in my belly. I would say, as a media guy, I'm happy that I am not on that side now. Right? So I can use with impunity, I can go on. But I think this is the devil's advocate thinking. Why not go beyond that idea that it should be used only in the regional way? It should be. Why not think beyond that? Some people will need it badly because they have no other source. Otherwise, they will come at you in this whole, I would say, isolated strategy. So, what is the answer?
I don't have answer. I have the same question as you. I mean, those policy maker, I mean, why would they think contradictory to a benefit that comes to the society? I mean, there must be some reason to them to think like that.
No, the reason is simple.
Why are they thinking in that direction?
People like Ranjan have a feeling that when we continuously develop only hydro for these fellows, what is happening is the hydro is only available in a certain period of time. Then there is a lot of opposition anyway on many projects.
On many projects, many projects.
Recently that Lohari Nagpala
is scrapped.
I can assure you that scrapping of the we are writing against it. Because you just imagine, wo Ganga ka wo diversion hota hai.
2,000 crores.
Unbelievable. They have spent-
2,000
the
crores.
money is there already.
700 crores
And
already
you will not
spent.
believe one guy-
Balance completed.
One guy says I have done my PhD in IIT and बाकी 10 IIT वाले उसके खिलाफ है. एक IIT वाला जाके he convinces the minister that this project have to stop. And in the parliament we were discussing nuclear deal and Prithviraj Chavan is openly telling in parliament that we lock this project, therefore the nuclear deal is important. Nobody discussed distributed power, nobody discussed solar, which was an easier bet than that nuclear deal. We have killed our nuclear goose also. I can tell you. On that single day in Parliament, the 26th of that day was a death knell for India, for the nuclear deal. When you say your liability only 15 crores and you're settling 2,40,000 crores worth of contracts, you can imagine what we are talking. Are we befooling this country?
Nobody is ready to take that responsibility.
No, no, we are befooling this country.
Not the operator, not even the
No,
supplier.
no,
Not
we
even
will
the supplier.
be
That's
writing
all.
against it. My editorial is already there on our table. We are going to write against it. So therefore, we are going to write in favor of smaller plants. And policymakers are very right. See, they sat on that side. When they saw what happened, whatever they recommended did not go through in full. Let me tell you that. Now, by sitting out, they are becoming a pressure group. And a younger generation of intelligent people are coming. Let us not discount our younger intellectuals. Because they are not being spoiled. I'm telling you that. See, there is a question mark here, because I am seeing young people are very clever. And they are not going to take all this. Believe me or not. So there is the old and the young meeting. The grandfather meeting the grandson. The fathers have a problem.
The mindset is slowly changing actually. To be frank, the mindset is changing slowly. How fast it will change is the main thing which is required today in India. Mindset is one thing for which
You
the
rightly said, sir, that when discussing a bigger project, when you talk about natural gas, bigger project on natural gas, a centralized project, it's really a crime.
absolutely.
That is what we are opposing.
Sheer wastage of
Yeah.
And that is
primary
exactly
energy
what we are
source.
opposing. As the media, we are opposing this issue. Because when you give, I'm not naming, but when you give 7,000 megawatt power plant को आप गैस दे देते हो और आप बोलते हो लगाओ वहाँ एक जगह पे, that is the most dangerous thing that you are proposing. Same thing when Arora is not there.
Why? Because
He brought that point on solar also. Why solar should be only put for Rajasthan and Gujarat?
Yes, why?
Rajasthan, Gujarat are the best states, but you must also develop that for Mizoram, Himachal Pradesh, Bhutan. What is the problem? Bhutan government is after me for solar.
And typically when you
Even
are
after
developing
having
the
so much
network,
ideas, sir.
when you are developing the gas network, there is no constraint of reaching any corner of
Absolutely, that's one advantage. Compared to a transmission network, it's much easier.
Compared to coal, probably that's
Yes.
a constraint out there. The transmission or the transportation of the coal is a constraint. But out here is no constraint.
No,
Why
even
should we
wheeling,
centralize?
wheeling and banking power across a 700 kV, 1000 kV infrastructure is very dangerous.
That's even costlier. I
Yes.
That's costly.
This is
you're right.
cheaper. Building the gas pipeline.
In fact, that's what is happening today. The transmission cost is going to be up with all the 800 kV lines and everything which you are planning.
And more so when we have a case like Dabhol in front of.
Yes.
Okay.
Dabhol case study has come many times. See, I was never opposing Dabhol. I wrote 25 articles in favor of Dabhol. We killed the project. See, that is a different issue. That is an investment issue. If you ask me, that is an investment issue. But अब फिर वही करना. When in a time when you know, Prabhu also told we have only 2.2% of land mass. Every project is being opposed. How many opposition you want to create? You do a small, I tell you, Thane Belapur power plant, nobody will oppose. Am I right, sir? Kalyan Dombali power plant, if you make 75 megawatt, nobody will oppose. You know, let us go to Ulasnagar. Our friend Mukesh Arani was here. They need 40 megawatt to 50 megawatt. Nobody will oppose. Let him do 10 megawatt from waste to energy and let him take his license, tie up with any party and let him generate 40 megawatts there in situ and Ulasnagar will be lighted. किसी को नहीं बिजली देगा?
And I need not have a license for that.
Yes, absolutely.
That is the main thing.
And this policy is there. Dr. Pramod Dev made this policy when he was the MERC chairman. He ensured that such a distributed license policy came in Maharashtra. And it's like the Supreme Court Act, if one, or the High Court Act, one court decides, the other court has to follow. Why we are not having this? It is all there. I think nobody is belling the cat. Believe me.
Therefore, that comes from the old mindset actually that it has been done, so it has to be done in future.
You want my criticism? Today you are all here. I'm very happy. But Vatsila goes and talks separately. MAN will go and talk separately. Don't do that, sir. We are a media forum. Come together. I'm not saying that you be wedded to us. You also go. But be एक muscle दिखाइए. Lobby has to be made properly. We will also work with CRISIL. Why we are calling CRISIL every time here? We're not talking because it's, we are working separately. Let's the media, the kind of people, intellectual people like them, all of us together, let's take it forward. ये नहीं कि ये किसको credit मिलना चाहिए. Let us get together and let us ensure that the policy comes from the industry.
It's for everybody's sake. I know how many suppliers or the equipment manufacturer out there in this room, but India is a big enough country to provide probably a business potential of 1,000 megawatts for each one of us out.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
There is an internal competition for unnecessary reasons.
We will have capacity constraint as a supplier. The requirement comes.
I never agreed with Michael Porter's competitive advantage. Fundamentals of mechanics, engineering, management. There is nothing called competitive advantage, there is only called comparative advantage. ये क्या था, एक हाईवे में चले गए, दो रास्ते थे, बोर्ड नहीं लगा हुआ था, एक तरफ चले गए, बोला डेड एंड है. That was border. We are still in the Ricardian school, where we are still dealing with comparative advantages. You know, and there is no endowment. Endowments migrate, like capital migrates, labor migrates. So all the theory that is written in the MBA school books have to be destroyed. So my kids are here, they will agree what I taught them in the class. But because I challenge myself first. You know, let us go back and look at what we have written and what is there. It's all muck, I tell you.
Even the engineering books, for example, we were just deliberating on that, you know. You talk about gas-based generation, it talks about a centralized power plant of 2000 megawatt.
That's it.
There is nothing. Even we are into touch with IITs, you know. Even we discussed at various levels with the professors out there. Electrical engineering, they have never heard of smaller.
Absolutely, they are not.
No, I think Professor Iyer or somebody used a very good word that all the gas is being sucked away by these large plants.
There is a big gap between the institutions and the industry today,
Yes.
which needs to be filled
Just
up.
like to share one word out here is somebody referred that. You know, it was very eye opener actually. When mankind evolved, you know, we took simile from the nature while we had grown and our technological intellect had grown. So if somebody talks about decentralized energy, why it should be decentralized, you know, then somebody said that, well, you know the theory of Big Bang. When there was one single mass, the evolution didn't happen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
When it was a Big Bang, the energy sources got scattered, and then you have life came in all across. You know, probably this is the human being that we know, but there could be many others coming all across the globe. So that's exactly why you should have decentralization.
Incidentally, I had one question for Mr. Kamath. Have I heard you correctly? 150 kg for 150 megawatts?
No, 1 kg per kilowatt.
One
Huh.
easy-
So one.
So I think
1 kg per
maybe
kilowatt.
that
So
must be
one
a
ton of
slip up.
Okay.
1 kg.
So that's okay.
Hello.
Any other questions?
One more thing for Chrisil. That you know, you said you want aggregators. The aggregator is right here. We will be able to do that because no, we are doing it with General Government, Dr. Rambabu. You know. So at any time, if you have sufficient numbers, do tell us. We will do it in a week's time.
The question is,
Sir, I am Abhishek, and my question is: we have national action plan in which says that which says about solar mission, and which says we should add 1,000 megawatt per year till 2020, and we should increase our capacity to 20,000 megawatt. But we have seen no progress in this mission. And now we are seeing that 50 megawatt target for gas and biofuel. Are we going to add these missions in our plan and not going to do anything? Because ultimately ultimately knowledge is knowing and wisdom is doing. So when we will act, but and ultimately I want how we are going to implement it, and what are the key factors which are governing it, this issue. If you can please throw some light on it.
You see, if you just want to say what you are talking about in this form is what is the potential available. We are talking about 50 gigawatt as a potential which can be exploited. But this is the form which you are trying to create as a forum to tell the government authorities that there is a potential which needs a policy decision, which needs come to a policy. See, like Solar National Mission has been announced as a policy after long deliberations. It has come to 20 gigawatt. Even there we are talking about 40 gigawatt. Most of them agree. Yeah.
we had a 20th July forum that is there. If you take the magazine, you will see the entire text of it.
There is that's a how. So it's also in the same way. Today for distributed energy, we do not have a policy from the government talking so much will be added up or something. Whatever is added up by the initiative of the individual industrial units based on the requirement, the need. I will use the word need. The need has made the decentralized energy come into the picture rather than any government policy or anything. It's how the things are coming up. Now, but with the demand supply gap going so much, and things start coming up in time for major projects which are coming up, and the delay in the transmission and distribution network improvement, which is much lagging behind than what is planned. The distributed energy requirement is going up and up. And that's why we are talking about 50 gigawatt is the one which is required.
It is a proactive response.
It's a proactive response, I'll say, from the
Industry
side and the utilities. And if you see what you're talking about, the government had talked by 2012, everybody will have electricity to everyone. Do you think it's going to come up? With the present policy of central major projects, you can never achieve it. You cannot lay a single transmission line to each and every house if you go to Mizoram or Nagaland. Can you do it? It's not feasible. So what we are talking about is the decentralized energy is a solution which can be used for the remote areas where you cannot lay a transmission line. Because again, a transmission line construction is not an easy task. Land acquisition is the biggest problem even for a transmission line today. That's everybody who is in the transmission and distribution sector, those people are fully aware of the problems, what they face. So what we are talking about here is coming from the industry. As a plan, we are publicizing it. This white paper will be published and it will be submitted to the policy makers. And in our firm, luckily we have people like Kirti Parekh who supports us and Mr. Rajdan. So that's where we are trying to use these people also to reach the government levels what we are proposing these things.
And
So there is no policy as such today for decentralized energy like National Solar Energy Policy.
But today Mr. Prabhu also made that very important point that decentralized evolution of power.
Absolutely.
Sir, do you think technology transfer and finance is also a factor which governs it?
You see, technology for decentralized energy, I don't think today there is a problem with the technology. I think most of the technology providers are sitting on this panel.
Mature. At an advanced, mature stage.
I do not think it's an advanced mature technology today available. For solar, it's a difference. Solar, you don't have a mature technology today.
It's at the early stage.
It's in the early stages. Whereas for the decentralized energy, the industry has matured, the technology is matured, and you don't have a problem. And I think the initiatives taken by proactive initiative, what he is saying, that comes and there is investment there already. Not putting money in that.
So the
Reply to that. What he says is that you may have any number of good ideas,
Yes.
but
Execution.
implementation, unless it
That
is
is the
done.
fact. That is the fact.
But to that, the reply is that perseverance is the only answer for anything. Just आदू खा के पीछे पड़ो जैसे हम लोग कहते हैं ना, तो perseverance is the only thing. Don't cease unless you have achieved your goal.
That's
And that reminds me of Raymond's one of those good sentences that used to come, that the voice of the intellect is soft, but it does not cease until after it is heard.
Exactly.
So that's it. Baba Apte said it very well. भान राखून योजना आखावा, व्यवहार होऊन कामाला लागो. It means with all the full consciousness you plan it, but for achieving like a mad you must operate, otherwise you are not achieving it.
you must have passion to do certain things. Unless you have passion, you will
Not,
not.
not just passion, it should be madness. Unless that possessive madness, then you cannot implement that.
And in that sense, a lot of mad people are here assembled.
I always found that learning is easy, but unlearning is very difficult.
See the solar missions, wind missions, if you talk about all those, these are good. Actually, it should be implemented, looking at the green revolution happening, and it's an obligation to the country so that our total emissions of the per head emissions remains within a tolerable limit. But when you talk about these two cases out here, the gas and the biofuel, these are very good complementing technology which is available, which will actually support solar and wind. They being a I would say, non-sustainable or on a continuous basis. Whenever this wind power is there, the power is generating. The wind is there, the power is generating. When the sun is there, the power is generating. But that's the informed source, I would say. To make it firm, you need a complementing source of energy which could be as stable as maybe a gas solution or maybe a biofuel solution. So these are complementing to each other. So it should not be seen in isolation, it should be seen in totality.
And then all of them are in a way decentralized.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
look at that whole factor.
Absolutely. In the total grid basket, you have all sources complementing each other, but still you have a greener energy.
And all of them are integrated, if you see, well integrated, decentralized.
Yes,
In
yes.
their own way.
If we talk about Denmark, probably, Sabi, you can throw some light. I mean, the 50% of the country's total power generation is decentralized CHP model. I mean, the whole country is on CHP. Can you just imagine? And we are talking about few thousand megawatts in a basket of 3 lakhs megawatt probably in the next 4-5 years. So it's possible.
I think we can have a lot of
I think
questions.
we can go closer. I think as a summary wise, if you see, it's very quite interesting discussions we had on this. Still, I think I only emphasize to think, okay, there is some policy decisions which people have spoken, but there are some ways, as has been shown by this great municipality, about how it can be seen. The law can be seen by commerce, and English is a beautiful language which can be interpreted the way you would like to interpret. So that's one area where we have to see, and of course the mindset change has to come up. And I think still it's feasible. India is a vast country, so all sources of energy is required for India, and I think that everybody has its way of applications for this great industry, and the power industry is going to boom in India for the next few years to come up. And let us dream a day will come where we have surplus power for everybody to demand and take from wherever source he wants to take it. I think I thank everyone. Thank you.